Financial topics, trending news, politics all come together here at the Vault.
All right, so Rick, tell me a little bit about yourself, how long you've been in business, and the types of projects that you like to take on.
I'm Rick Johnson, or Johnson Electrical Contracting Incorporated. We've been in business since 1996, and most of our projects are residential and commercial projects.
Nice, okay. 1996, you've seen a lot of change in this town.
Absolutely, yeah.
Tell me about how the company has grown since, obviously it's grown a lot since 1996, but what can you tell me about that growth?
Well, the growth has been up and down, and it's been due to the fact that it's hard to find skilled labor to bring in to take on the projects that you want to take on and grow with. Even trying to outsource it through different labor pools and other places, it really starts to become very challenging through that. And also, you know, it's hard to find the people that you need to do the different divisions of the company, like a project manager or service manager. Those people are very hard to find in the trades. Yes.
Yeah, we definitely lack in skilled labor for sure. Like trades, like electricians, plumbers. Even when it comes to landscaping, you know what I mean? Like you can only and due to the fact that people are starting to crack down a little bit on immigration, and unfortunately, legal immigrants normally gravitate towards one of two industries, either agriculture or like really agriculture and construction is what I was going to say, right? And construction can be in his wheelhouse, right? And unfortunately, he's got to keep that in mind, the fact he can't hire somebody who's not an American citizen, right? So even though there may be individuals who would want to work for him, he can't hire them. Right. You know, he's going to get punished for that. So, you know, what does a small business do in that regard? You know what I mean? You want to grow, you got business out there, but yet, you know, because again, we talked about it before, this TikTok generation, you know, they all want to be entertainers as opposed to being electricians. Yeah. So, you know, I want to do anything I can in order to help my guy. Right. You know what I mean? So he's, you know, I know how hard he works. I've seen how hard he works. I've seen the jobs he takes on. He does an excellent job in what he does, you know, and at the end of the day, he wants to get his business to scale, you know what I mean? But the lifeblood of what he does has to be there. He's got to have the labor.
So, you know, on top of labor, I know that at least in the last 18 months with COVID and all that, I know that the cost of material is way up as well. Can you speak to that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yep. Steel is double. Copper, it's hard to even try to do any proposals for any jobs or anything like that. If you're building a new building and you want me to give you a proposal on it, and you know you're not going to start for a year, I have no idea what the material cost is going to be.
I'm curious, 10, 12 years ago, would you have known the cost of the material a year out? Would you be able to confidently look at a job and say, oh, well, I know what the cost of steel is going to be a year from now, or at least approximately?
There's been just a couple times throughout the 25 years I've been in business that material has jumped considerably like it has in the past 18 months. So, I mean, most of the time, to answer your question, would be yes, we'd be pretty confident that it's going to be close to what we came in at.
But the good thing is you've navigated this sort of environment before, right? Like sometimes when we talk about, you know, when it comes to portfolios and things like that, I always say, look, you know, I've navigated a recession before. You know what I mean? You can trust me through this sort of environment. And, you know, the good thing is you're going to come out on the other side of this very, very healthy. At least I think so. So, you know, tell me a little bit about, you know, what the last 18 months, how that's affected you, you know, from not only a business standpoint, but personally as well. Because, I mean, obviously people drop off, you know, people, for all intents and purposes, that you've committed to and, you know, have to look out for themselves so they can't come to work at times. And, you know, I can't imagine just how all that pressure, you've still been able to kind of thrive. You know what I mean? So tell me a little bit about that.
Well, you know, I mean, it's been definitely challenging from a business point of view, because originally everybody was kind of putting the brakes on, and then all of a sudden that didn't last very long. Everybody kind of pushed things back in when they discovered that, you know, we were the people that had to work, you know, so that they needed our services. So we had to go back and write some letters to let our guys move around freely, so that, you know, if something happened, they're an essential worker, they need to go to work and they need to be there. So I did find it challenging at times, because employees would come and I had a COVID test in the family, and somebody has the COVID, and you know, the tests weren't really very accurate, you know, but then it was a 2-week waiting period before you could get them back to work, you know what I mean? And then you got the stimulus involved in it, so then you had to go get stimulus money, and then you had to use that funds to pay to keep people around as well. So it was very challenging then. On a personal note, we're getting married September 26th in Colorado. Thank you, appreciate it. She's a great person.
All right, Rick, so you've been a client of LoneStar Wealth Management for quite a while now. I'm curious your thoughts on Charles as a person, but also his style as an investment advisor.
All right, Charles as a person, I think Charles is an outstanding person. He's honest, he's responsive, he's fun, he's straight up too. I mean, he tells you, you know, what's going on, what's on his mind, and you know, I totally respect people like that, because, you know, I mean, the last thing I want is somebody that's going to kind of, I don't know, add fluff to it, sugarcoat it, right? Exactly, you know what I mean? They just tell me how it is, and we'll move on. So Charles as a person, he's an outstanding person. As far as him being an investor, I think he's an excellent investor as well. I'm up, I know that. He listens to you. He wants to put you in a bracket that you're comfortable with, and then keep up with you and make sure that you understand, you know, what's going on and everything else. So I mean, I think he's great for me. I don't have to watch him, you know what I mean? I'm comfortable. I get to focus on my business and let him do what he does, and he's good at it.
That's honestly the best thing I can hear. Like you talked about earlier, like taking that pressure off of a business owner to let them do their thing. Right. You know what I mean? Exactly. Not to saying that he can't do this. He is perfectly capable of doing this on his own. But at the end of the day, if I can, you know, just lessen that burden a bit, you know what I mean? So that he can be a better electrician, which is what he loves. You know what I mean? I'm doing my job. So I value him and his wife, or soon to be wife, as individuals. And, you know, I love to see, I want to help more hardworking individuals who just, you know, put their hands in the dirt and, you know, are really grinding it out on a daily basis. Those individuals I really want to work with. You know, so if, you know, God forbid, you know, what comes out of this whole COVID situation, and, you know, but I do believe once we get on the other side of this, there's going to be significant growth for businesses like his. And, you know, because there's a need and a necessity for it. We just have to, we got to get more young individuals who really care, you know, enough, because there's a lot, especially with this new infrastructure package possibly being done. Right. Look, there's definitely going to be a need for electricians, right? So, and money will rain down on them like they've never seen, you know what I mean? So imagine being, you know, 20 to 25 years old and making a pretty decent wage, right. You know what I mean? Matter of fact, why don't we talk about that for a second? What is average wages for the particular industry at this point for a starter, and then obviously somebody who's a little bit more experienced?
Well, I mean, actually at this point, I think we're probably starting close to $15 an hour. Like minimum wage is going to be here shortly. So, I mean, you're not going to find anybody, even
Under that.
McDonald's is, you know,
Maybe
in
a
there,
15,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? So, and then, you know, coming up, you know, as you go up, probably in 5 years, you're probably going to get close to where you can be at your maximum. I would say it's around $26 an hour.
And like we talked about with inflation, he's going to have the ability to raise prices over time, because at the end of the day, those same inputs that he's taking on with the increased lumber, steel, all those things, he's got to charge more, right? Which means more money for everybody in the business, right? So it's just a matter, hopefully we don't have to deal with high rates of interest, right, to borrow, so that it doesn't squeeze margins, right? So that's something that, well, that's my part to help him there, right? To be like, hey man, you know, I'm not sure if we should take on that extra employee this year, because, you know, it might cost you a little bit more if we need to borrow anything this year, right? So, you know, just making sure that he stays ahead of you know, the next issue, or, you know, something along those lines.
Rick, tell me, what do you like to do in your free time?
Me, I like to ride a motorcycle.
Oh, okay, what kind
Yeah,
of bike you
so I've got a 2016 Harley Street Glide.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a pretty nice bike, and Stephanie likes it. But you know, I mean, it's kind of been dampered a little bit by COVID.
What's your favorite movie?
My favorite movie, oh boy. That's a good question. I really don't.
Man ain't got time for movies.
Yeah.
I should tell you something. Man ain't got time for it. He really is. He works that hard. You know what I mean? Like, whenever I've been trying to get him out, because we have this thing where we played ping pong, right? We love ping pong, and there's a.
That is good. If you get a chance, he'll school you.
So there's a local restaurant around here that had a ping pong table at it, and we used to go, you know, just have a couple beers and we play ping pong. You know what I mean? And it's just little things like that you know, you can build camaraderie with somebody, and that builds that connection over time. You know what I mean? And you know, so I'm elated to have him and his business be associated with me. You know, I'm honored in that fact. You know, more individuals like him, that's all I want. You know what I mean? I mean, the man works extremely hard, and I'm going to make sure that, you know, he didn't have to worry about much.
I appreciate that for sure.
Excellent.